Hey, let's get started. A bit stuffy today. We are doing well. Got some to start with. I'll pull those up. I'm gonna be a bit stuffy. I literally just sneezed like a bunch. Vandal. 2011, 1.2 billion listens. This screams like Justin Bieber or Taylor Swift. This is LMFAO. This is I'm sexy and I know it. No? Fireball? Pitbull? This sounds like a Pitbull track, huh? Hold on now. We can get this. Oh, this is like tip of my tongue. Sounds like Fireball. I think it's Pitbull. It is. Let's go. Nailed it. Check up the order a little bit. Yes, the book. He needed to hurry, catch the man by surprise, but didn't like having to cross the yard out in the open, exposed. What he did was sprint, hunched over, like anybody looking out a window then wouldn't see him. He came past the swimming pool, got to the patio, and stopped, seeing one of the French doors come open. The cowboy stepped out, nothing in his hands, and stood looking right at him. Said, "You don't want to get shot, do you? Put down the gun. Drop it on that chair." I don't know why I try to do this. This is some Western. Riding the Rap. I don't know what pool of books they pull this from and how I'm supposed to know what books they get pulled from. How about Ledge? Holy, it's a total whiff. North. Okay. Torch. Easy. Alright, crossword time. Toot one's own horn. That would be to tout. Blank is one down. Netflix series whose contestants get engaged without ever... Love is blind. Says who. Didn't just suspect. Knew, maybe? Words exchanged at a wedding. That would be I do's. Loverboy. Romeo. Openly confesses. Avows. Blank Z. Gen Z. And this says Simon. Brag was toot one's own horn. Connectos. Hat trick. Home run. Triple crown. Hat trick. Triple crown. Three-peat. Trifecta. Three of something. I should have probably thought that was a red herring, but I had to go for it. Kentucky Derby, Home Run Derby, Roller Derby, Demolition Derby. What? Soapbox Derby? That sucks. Roll. Paint. Drop cloth. Tape. Painting supplies. Wing sprouts, broiled cheesesteak. Philly? No. Food named after cities. Buffalo wings, Philly cheesesteak, London broil, and Brussels sprouts. Gotcha. Let's see. 16. How about 15 divided by 3 plus 2 equals 7. Not even close. But it is 114 minus 10 equals 4. Nope, that doesn't work. 14 minus 4 minus 9 equals 1. Wait, are these in the right spot or are they in wrong spots? These are in wrong spot. Change. So let's do... There aren't that many numbers in that case. 61 plus... There's no plus, no minus. It's times. Times 8 equals 488. Okay. What's left? 4D. No. 4 times 18 equals... That's not right either. And then the times is not... So it has to be like 8 times 18 equals 144. Yeah. Movie to movie. Ooh. Serenity to the girl with the dragon tattoo. A fun one. Little Nathan Fillion. Little Alan Tudyk. This movie rules. The girl with the dragon tattoo has Daniel Craig. Robin Wright is in that, huh? Can we get from Robin Wright to someone here? I actually don't really know what Robin Wright is in. She is in The Princess Bride. Actually, can we get to The Princess Bride from here? Sarah Paulson. Sarah Paulson, you can get to Sandra Bullock through Bird Box. Daniel Craig. Knives Out. Where am I trying to go? Robin Wright or Nathan Fillion? Or Alan Tudyk? Jamie Lee Curtis. Everything, everywhere, all at once. If I can get to Sandra Bullock, I can be there. Can I get to Sandra Bullock? Are you in Ocean's 8? No. Actually, let's go back to Knives Out. Okay, we go... Me, Ana de Armas. Was also in Bond movies, which is kind of funny. Alright, give me Blade Runner. Which gives me... Robin Wright? Wait, we're in. Wait, no, was she in the girl with the dragon tattoo? Hold on, did I go in a circle? Hold on, did I go in a circle? I went in a circle. Okay, hold on. That's not what we were looking for. Blade Runner gives us... I don't think we have any clean connections here. Gosling. He's in La La Land, 8, which has Emma Stone. We're just going in circles now, but we can then go to... We can go to Burge Arrive, which has... Why can't I get to Sandra Bullock? Isn't she in, like, everything? Michael Keaton. Give me... It's 2015. Which, of course, has Sandra Bullock in it. Everybody knows that. Is Sandra Bullock in Minions? What does she do? She's Scarlet Overkill, of course. Everybody knows that. Bird Box. Sarah Paulson. Serenity. Boom. 7. You could have done it in 2. Nathan Fillion was in Dracula 2000 with Christopher Plummer. Never gonna know. We probably could have skipped some steps here. But we got there. Box office games. December 11th, 1998. 98, Paramount Pictures. 98. Patrick Stewart. The Star Trek. That have been in theaters. Nemesis? Generations? Jonathan Frakes. The battle for paradise has begun. When an alien race and factions within Starfleet attempt to take over the planet that has a regenerator, it is Star Trek. Insurrection. I should have just kept guessing. Disney. Disney 98. Hercules. Hunchback. Disney 98. After Lion King. Toy Story? Disney 98. Cars? Dave Foley. Kevin Spacey. An epic presentation of miniature proportion. Presentation of miniature. A Bug's Life. Kevin Spacey was Hoppa. Warner Bros. With Michael Keaton. That's funny. Is this Batman? Blank Blank is getting a second chance to be the world's coolest dad if he doesn't melt first. Jack Frost. This movie sucks. Goofy ass movie. Touchtone, 6 mil, made a lot. Will Smith, 98. That's gotta be Men in Black. No, but that would have been Universal Studios. This is Wild Wild West. Gene Hackman, Will Smith. Gene Hackman, Will Smith. 98? What else is Will Smith in? It's not Paranoia if they're really after you. The videotape of the murder of Congressman unknowingly ends up in the hands of a labor lawyer and decided his family, Robert Clayton Dean, is framed for the murder. With the help of his mysterious Brill, Dean attempts to throw the NSA off his trail. I've never heard of this movie. Enemy of the State. Yeah, I have never heard of this movie. Early Will Smith. Paramount Pictures. Elizabeth Daily. Tara Strong. Pog. Tara Strong. An adventure for anyone who's ever worn diapers. This is the Rugrats movie. Okay, we got a couple. Lol. Page unresponsive. We can't do that one. Pokedoku. Hisui. Hisui is a maid. Dual type flying. Give me Aerodactyl. Huge. Dual type water. Give me Swampert. Okay. Dual type steel. Steel. Give me Magnemite. Okay, we are cooking right now. Psychic flying. All right, it's so over. Psychic flying. Latios or Latias, perhaps? I'll come back to that one. Psychic water. Golduck. I think we went over this. I think last time we realized he is not. Psychic steel. Okay, we're screwed. This is gonna be like Screener. Cresselia? Tinkating? I don't think I've got it. This is Feather. This is Esparthia. I give up. Unfortunate. We have Bravery Hisui. We have Samurat Hisui. And Gudra. Bruxish. Diglif. Metagross. Metagross is probably one I could have pulled. Oh, Slowpoke is Water Psychic. Guess the game. This is Grandia 2. This is Black and White. This is... that's like a ninja tool. This is Shinobi. No, this is Ninja Gaiden. Turn-based JRPG. Whoa, this is not old. This is Bravely Default. This is... Get me. I Am Setsuna. I've never heard of that one. Yeah, we got... You already know we gotta go Jets. Nets. Mets. I don't even want to read these. Okay. Geography. What is the state capital of Wisconsin? Madison. Celebrities. This is... Joel McHale. And... Aaron Culkin. Joel McHale was right. Bevies. Owned by Coca-Cola, this brand of beverage is known for its lemonade and juices and has the naming rights for the Houston Astros baseball park since 2002. This Minute Maid is television from 93 to 2000 and then again from 2009 to 2021. Andy Richter was the sidekick for what? Oh, it's Conan. Directed by Kevin Smith and starring Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, the characters Jay and Silent Bob appear in this 99 fantasy comedy about two fallen angels. Dogma. It's a fun movie. Music. Since 2000, the Spanish singer released multiple hits including Hero, I Like It, and Bailando. Enrique Iglesias. Bailando. It was Chris Martin. I don't even know who that is. Food guesser. Where is this dish from? I don't think this is today's. It's not. Okay. We got meat sandwich. Donkey meat. Wheat flour. Buns. Soybean paste. Chopped green onion. Cilantro. Chili sauce. Season and cook minced donkey meat until tender. And then this is pho. Is this Vietnam? Borders Vietnam. Oh no, I'm screwed. I don't know what borders Vietnam. Indonesia's way far away. I don't know what borders Vietnam. Oh, it is China. Nice. Okay. A donkey burger. Traditional Chinese seafood or street food. This is Spam on a Bun. Bun, sausage, jahit makara, onion, pickle, mustard, ketchup, butter, beer optional. The dish starts with a slice of thick sausage, typically fried or grilled. Place the sausage on a slice of bread. Jati makara. Give me Indonesia. Ice cold. Way north? Iceland? Warmer. Russia. Borders. Can I get a Kazakhstan? Cool. Borders Russia to the north. This Ukraine. Finland. Right up there. Okay. Oh, Iceland. I think I meant... You, like... I think Iceland is always way closer to, like, the UK than it is. Next. This is... This looks really good. Oh, wait. What the hell is this? Ground beef, onion, garlic, curry powder, bread, milk, eggs, raisins, almonds. This looks like it's got to be Indian. Cold. Southwest. Yellow rice and chutney. Could this be like Trinidad? Ice cold. Okay. I don't know where I'm trying to go now. Cold. South Africa? It is South Africa. Look at that. Bobo tie. How did I do? 76-69. I'm... Dude, everybody gets it. Like, everyone gets all three. I don't understand. Because I can't. I always beef it. Guess the audio. The Beatles? Oh, what is this? The Tale of McGee? Something McGee? Me and Bobby McGee? Oh, the taste. Let's see. Could it be Eurythmics, Never Gonna Cry Again? Pretty Hate Machine. Like a Nirvana? Oh, it's 9 Inch Nails. Gotta be Hurt, right? Something I Can Never Have. Something I Can Never Have is a correct answer. Framed. This is Tenet. This is The Aviator. The plane is upside down. Black Hawk Down? There's no way. Oh, is this just called Flight? Yeah. I remember this trailer for this. Acted. I'm gonna say Mastermind. Dangerous Mind. Get me? Kevin Spacey. Is this American Beauty? He would probably be top billed in that. Brad Pitt, Kevin Spacey. Is this is 7. Yep. Did not realize that was Gwyneth Paltrow. Price. With a burger for a head, Speedy was the original 50s mascot of what chain? I think that was McDolan's. It was. Albert and Bazatin Ridge were skirmishes fought along what river? The Thames. All in all, more than 1 million people were killed in World War I's Battle of the what? World War One. Bay? What river? So it's a name of a river. Do you know it? Oh, or you're just saying hello. I thought you were raising your hand like, I know this! Potomac. Running near Belgium in the English Channel, what river is an anagram to Memos? Oh, mems. Salme? Yeah. Sports legend Paolo Maldini and Pierre Pilotti both wore what jersey number? 1. What prime number has been supported by Russell Wilson and Chris Paul? Prime number. Russell Wilson? 7. What one-digit number graced the uniforms of Babe Ruth and Dwayne Wade? It's a prime number. 5. It was 3. Patroclus kills Sarpedon. Hector kills Patroclus. Somebody kills Hector. Is the climax of what bloody epic? Oh, this is the Iliad? Nope. And then Joseph Brame won up the steam hammer in the 1790s when he invented what sort of press? The hydraulic press. Damn, 10 points. Let's go. We gotta put Ferrudo Erica in the hydraulic press. Each suspect brought one weapon to one location, but only one was a murderer. The shortest suspect was in whatever the opposite of love is with the person who brought a snow globe. So the Dean Glaucos... Okay. Whatever the opposite of love is with the person who brought a snow globe. So he did not bring a snow globe. Is what that means. Traces of a weapon made of stone were found in the real estate office. Stone dagger was in the real estate office. Then, with one of his magnificent eyebrows raised, he took the statements of the 3 suspects. Okay. Earl Grey brought a stone dagger. Officially, Earl Grey was at the hotel. Agent Fuchsia brought a laptop. So if Earl Grey brought the stone dagger, he could not have been at the boutique hotel. So... Wait. Yeah. If he brought the stone dagger, he can't be at the boutique hotel. That means this has to be true. Agent Fuchsia brought a laptop. Which means this guy brought the stone dagger, which means this happened here. And then either Earl Grey was at the boutique hotel, which is possible, and that would mean he didn't bring a stone dagger. That doesn't create a contradiction. But if he didn't bring a stone dagger... Oh, wait, we know he didn't bring a stone dagger. Because... Dean Glaucos brought the stone dagger. So it's Dean Glaucos in the real estate office with the stone dagger. Ship it. Easiest one in my life. When 2 statements are immediately contradictory, it's really easy to find what happens. Let's get our marrow. Today's Myrtle solution consists of Dean Glaucos, a right-handed Virgo, which suggests you like to be in charge, and a stone dagger, which corresponds to celebrating yourself. This will lead ultimately to the real estate office, generally signifying a large pile of money. If you do not desire this outcome, avoid anything resembling a stone dagger today. Okay, so I will celebrate myself. And I will get a large pile of money. I'm in. Though I will admittedly, sometimes I struggle to celebrate myself. Okay. Let us begin this tale. Final chapter. Twilight of the Golden Witch. Good morning. To think that this goodbye brings me great sadness as well. I have prepared a farewell party for this night. There will be a game tournament as well, so I ask that you participate with vigor. Like pepper, the difficulty comes in tiny yet spicy grains. Why not participate yourself, now at the very end? The story is very obviously fictional and fantastic in nature. Any resemblance to existing individuals is a completely coincidental. In the chapel again. Two silhouettes could be seen in the chapel. A big brother and a little sister. The big brother who would never return from that day 12 years in the past, and the little sister who waited all alone 12 years in the future. However, the big brother knew everything, understood everything, and the little sister knew nothing, understood nothing. No matter how much time passed, the little sister remained as the girl she had been 12 years prior. She remained a 6-year-old girl forever. Her sobs into his chest finally subsided. He quietly waited for his next words. After patting her head gently, the big brother fished around inside his shirt pocket. Then, he took that out. Are you listening, Angie? Take good care of this. What is it? A key? Battler took a large key attached to a necklace out of his pocket, then held it out to Angie. It was large enough to cover his entire palm, and a little Angie probably wouldn't even be able to wrap her hand all the way around it. The key glittered gold and had a beautiful, intricate design. Its weight alone made it clear that this key was something very important. Battler put the necklace around Angie's neck. This precious key is yours alone. What's it for? Young Angie. Very small Angie. The time to use it will come soon. When it does, you'll have to decide for yourself. Understand? Of course, she didn't have a clue what Battler was saying, but she did realize that he was telling her to take good care of this key. So Angie nodded, at least in response to that part. In her hand, the key had felt heavy. However, now that it was around her neck, it felt as light as an ordinary necklace. How strange. Okay, let's go. Where to? She had been sure that her brother was about to sit down. After all, just a second ago, he said he'd tell her what happened on Rokkenjima on that day. She'd expected him to tell her here. On that day. On that island. Just what is it that happened? I thought you were going to tell me about that, Oni-chan. Absolutely. And you'll be given the chance to listen. However, to you, it may not feel as though you're merely listening to a story. What does that mean? What you really want isn't to know what happened on the island on that day. Though, he does understand after all. What happened on that island that day? Trying to answer that question was all I was capable of, so I wished for nothing more. Whoa. Sorry. But if I could, I'd want to go there. To that island. On that day. To Rokkenjima. On that day, I couldn't go. To the Ushirimiya family mansion. To Mom and Dad. To all the cousins. All the relatives. And everyone else. I want to go back to that island on that day. So I remain this way, the way I was on that day. My heart and soul stopped, stuck as a 6-year-old's forever. I want to go home. I know. Mom, Dad, Oni-chan, everyone. I want to go home to where everyone is. That's why I've decided to invite you there. Huh? Your Oni-chan is the game master now. Only those who know everything about the game board can open it up and invite pieces in. So I'll invite you to come to the game board. You'll take me to Rokkenjima on that day? That's right. I'll invite you to the Rokkenjima of 1986. Will I be able to see everyone? Of course. Even though my memory is vague, and I can't remember anyone's faces clearly, you'll remember. Soon enough. And though it'll be a reunion after 12 years for you, it'll only have been a short gap for us. Everyone will welcome you. When you finally return from the distant future, everyone will welcome you. Will I be able to stay there forever? This way, I can be with everyone forever. That's the goal I'm supposed to reach. Angie, listen to me carefully. But Battler spoke in an admonishing tone, as though warning me that this was a dream that wouldn't be granted. The Rokkenjima family conference usually ends after a single night. Because of that typhoon on that day, the boat couldn't come. Instead, it lasted 2 nights. So, when the typhoon passes, I'll have to leave the island again? Not exactly. That decision is yours as well, Angie. You'll decide that yourself. I understand, of course. I don't exist on that island on that day. It's a miracle just to be invited there like this. Just the 2 days before the typhoon passes, just getting those 2 days to myself is already the sort of miracle that will never come again. If I'm greedy enough to ask for more, that faint miracle might vanish. Even though I thought this, my young heart, which was still 6 years old, wasn't satisfied with such a short-lived miracle. I don't want to leave. I know. I'll be with everyone, forever. I'll stay with my family. Even if Oni-chan says I have to head back, I'll stay on Rokkenjima. You can stay or you can leave, but it's not as though one of those is the right choice. That's not how it works, Angie. Even so, will you let me choose? Yes. That's what the key is for. Battler touched the glittering key that hung from Angie's neck. I've already made my decision. You don't have to decide now. The time to choose will come soon. But when it does, you must use your honest heart to choose how you'll use that key. You don't need to listen to anything your Oni-chan tells you. You're free to choose your answer in any way you like. However, if you're a good kid, and if you can trust your Oni-chan, if I can, then believe everything I say. I'll believe it. All of it. That will lead to the best choice for you. Listen to your Oni-chan's words and believe everything. Can you do that? I don't know. That's good enough. Believe whatever you want. That's also a choice you can make. If I don't believe Oni-chan, will I wake up from this dream? That won't happen. So don't worry. For some reason, Angie was suspicious of her brother and scared of him. Her wish was to remain on the island on that day, together with her family, forever. She was afraid that once she got her 2 miraculous days, her brother might tell her to be satisfied with that and return to 12 years in the future, all alone. I already told you, there is no right decision. You can go or you can stay. That's for you to decide. And you don't need to make your decision right now. And no one will force me to make either choice? Of course. And Oni-chan won't tell me to go back to the future? There is a choice your Oni-chan wants you to make. Even so, Oni-chan will respect your decision and let you reach it of your own accord, regardless of what it happens to be. I just told you. I've already made my choice. And I just told you. Now isn't the time to choose. When will be the time? The key will tell you. The large gold key hung from Angie's neck. Her small hand held it tightly. At that moment, she noticed a book lying on the chapel's altar. The book had a lock on it and was sealed, so that it could not be read without a key. Angie looked between the key hanging at her chest and the book on the altar. Will this key unlock that book? Don't touch that book. Ooh. His sudden, forceful response made Angie flinch. Battler, realizing he had scared Angie, softened his expression. Come on. Let's go. I'm inviting you to come back to October 4th, 1986. Okay. Battler held out his hand and Angie gripped it tightly. Then they started walking. A brilliant light lay behind the chapel door. That bleeding light peeked through the cracks around the door. The brother and sister walked through to the other side. That book must be Beatrice's story. Not touch that book.
おかえり、エンジ。
Welcome back, Angie. Oh, hold on, I just realized I have to change. Welcome back, Angie.
そしてこれで
This will be the last time I'm opening this game board one last time for you. What does it mean?
最後にもう一度だけ開く。
Oh. When they cry. 4. So pretty. Hey, Soma. Hell yeah. Beatrice looking out the window. There's Will and Leon again. Everybody. This intro is so good. This really did show you a lot back in like episode 5 or 6, and it's like I just had no idea what was even going on. What is in store for us in this last trip to Rokkenjima? Oh, here we go. Once again, Captain Kawabata's ferry boat to Rokkenjima cut across the sea in perfect form. Yes, the tale of October 4th, 1986 always begins with Battler's screams. But this time, one thing was different. There was another yell alongside Battler's. Battler was screaming. The other was laughing? Whoa. Achievement. Something's different this time. How long it's been. Angie's on Rokkenjima? Battler's face looks funny. Alongside the big brother, who was grasping at the handrail and screaming in a way no one that age should scream, was the little sister, also grasping the handrail and jumping about like it was a ride at an amusement park. George and the others just couldn't hold in their laughter at the difference. I guess Battler hasn't changed much this past 6 years. He's as energetic as ever. Plus, Angie and Maria look more cheery than usual this year. Could this be the first time we've had all 5 cousins together? Oh, is it? I get it. That explains why it's noisier this year than any year before. George, this was too fast, right? This is way too fast, right? I'm begging you, ask the driver to slow down before it's too late. This is too fast? Battler's so pathetic. I want to go faster. Faster, faster. Any faster than this and you'll fall right off the boat. Will that make you happy? I'm gonna fall. I haven't read Umineko with the voice patch. Going by popular vote, I'd have to say that Battler's proposal is rejected. Look out, Oni-chan. You're gonna fall. Scaredy cat Battler needs to be punished. Tickle time. Wait, stop, Maria. Oh, I would fall off the boat. Thank goodness. I was worried about Angie's health, but It'd be too sad to leave her behind at home. I'm glad we decided to bring her anyways. Wasn't she very sickly shortly before you left? She was all better this morning. Kids can be so incredible sometimes. She's the kind of person whose health takes a hit when she's stressed. It's not that strange for people like that to get all better when the big day finally comes. She must really been looking forward to playing with all 5 of the cousins together. Just watching them play together makes you feel charged with energy, doesn't it? The adults smiled as they watched the children play around. Angie, who had gotten very sick and who everyone had thought would be absent, made a miraculous recovery. Thanks in part to her strong desire to join in, she had come along to the family conference with the others. And so, for the first time ever, all 5 cousins were gathered together. October 4th, 1986 became a day like no other. Bum, bum, bum. The kids dashed up the path leading from the harbor to the rose garden. They were probably so charged up that even walking was too boring for them. See that? First place! Battler was the first one to reach the rose garden, which was the goal. Apparently, he was trying to make up for the dishonor he had suffered on the boat by proving his superiority on land. A short while later, Angie and Maria reached him in a dead heat. I'm second. I'm faster than Angie. No. Maria cheated. I'm second. The 3-year gap between Angie and Maria was large, especially since both of them were still growing kids. It was only natural that Maria was faster, but Angie seemed to be complaining about a shoulder bump at the start line. Maria cheated, so she gets last place. Teacher always said you get last place if you cheat, protested Angie. Come on. No need to fight. Still, both of you really are fast. It's been a long time since I've run that much. I feel you, George. The breeze feels nice. Are you out of shape, George? You know, anyone who has to run the race to make it before the bell every day gets strong legs by default. In other words, being a fast runner is proof that you sleep in a lot. Oni-chan always sleeps in. He didn't wake up today either, so I had to wake him. Right? A stomp followed by a flying elbow. And that bodyplex from the top rope at the end just about finished me. That sounds more like to put you in eternal sleep. Sounds fun. I want to do it too. I bet Oni-chan sleeps in tomorrow too. We'll wake him up together, okay? I'd recommend against staying up too late tonight. Finally, the adults came into sight. The cousins waved at them, urging them to hurry up. Angie and Maria were so excited that they could hardly wait. Just by having all 5 cousins together, just by adding Angie into the group, look at how energetic this day has become. Pledge. Excuse me. The family members have arrived. Though they made it, I must let father know. Are they all in the guest house now? Yes. They will meet you here after they've set down their luggage. I understand. Cannon, please show them the way. Cannon, quickly get some tea ready. As you wish, madam. Father, it's me, Kraus. About time for you to go get ready. After Kraus knocked on the door, it opened from the inside. Oh, Dr. Nanjo. How is father doing? No need to worry. He's changing as we speak. I think he's just a little nervous. Who are you calling nervous? No. I can't... What? I can't find my favorite one-winged necktie pin. How many times must I tell Natsuhi? My possessions must never be moved without my approval. Apparently, Kinzo had been running around for some time just because he couldn't decide on a tie and a tie pin. Kinzo, who felt that the dignity of the family head must always be preserved, usually made a big deal about the head's attire being equally dignified. Will he make it in time? Do you think he could give us a little longer? We'll come down as soon as he's ready. Understood. I'm counting on you, Dr. Nanjo. Father, I must say that necktie pin looks splendid on you. This necktie pin, you say? This one? The family conference is held but once a year. There shall be no compromise. I must have that necktie pin. Where is it? Where is it? Something is up. I am so skeptical right now. Kinzo, you already looked in that drawer 5 seconds ago. Besides, you own several splendid necktie pins. Is it not stylish to select something fitting to match Fate's whims? You think so? So, I don't need to use the one-winged eagle pin. As Kraus watched Nanjo calm Kinzo down, he started finding it hard to believe that this doctor wasn't his own mother. Well, it was always like this. He always makes a fuss when no one's looking, but when the time comes, he makes his decision with pride. After asking Nanjo to come down by lunch at the latest, Kraus snuck out of the study. What do you think? A splendid aroma, is it not? And a unique one as well. Oh, I've never had pumpkin tea before. That little touch of sweetness makes it delicious. As one step in preparing the tea for the guests, Goda lets Shannon try a bit first. Until then, Shannon had thought it would be outrageous for a servant such as herself to drink the same thing as the family and their guests. However, according to Goda, that kind of thinking was a mistake. One must not serve something if one does not know the taste beforehand. For example, when you visit a restaurant and a dish you've never heard of catches your eye, what are you likely to ask the waiter? How does this dish taste? Correct? I see. So if the waiter says that he's never eaten it before, that would seem a bit odd. Precisely. As a matter of course, anyone serving their customers must be deeply acquainted with the taste of the tea and food they serve. And you'll always feel happier serving a sort of tea that you've tried and enjoyed for yourself. That's right. After tasting tea this delicious, I can't wait to let everyone else try it. And because of that, we servants must be very familiar with the tastes of all sorts of foods. That's why sampling food whenever I can is part of my job description. It's a perk as well as our job. Do you understand? I do. Everything is proceeding smoothly. Are there any problems with the tea? Oh, Genji, you must try some as well. Seeing as it's almost Halloween, I decided to make some pumpkin tea. Later, perhaps. The family will be arriving at the mansion very soon. It looks as though the children will be joining in. Yes, sir. The cups are ready to go as well. At that moment, the kitchen extension line started to ring. Genji, who was standing right beside it, swiftly picked up the receiver before the second ring. Shannon and the others always thought Genji looked like a samurai when he did this. Understood. Take care when guiding them. After giving that short response, Genji set the receiver down. That was Canon. The relatives will be here shortly. The children are with them. Shannon, Kumasawa, go serve them. Goda, hurry up with that tea. Hi. Yes, sir. The family conference. It was the largest event of the year for the servants. They were all excited and determined to make it through together once again this year. Kraus, I have led the relatives here. Oh, there you are. Were there any troubles on your trip here? Nissan, you've been doing pretty well for yourself lately, haven't you? Is it about time you bought a private jet? After all, no one was in that plane but the family, as usual. I'm glad. I'm glad Angie made it. I was so worried when I heard that she was too sick to come. Thank you for your concern. She suddenly got all better this morning. My tummy ache went away. I rubbed my tummy clockwise. That's a magical ritual to heal tummy aches. Now, Maria, quiet down. Oh, is that Battler? You've grown so big. It's been 6 years, hasn't it? You've grown splendidly. Well, I do keep getting bigger at least. Can't really say that about his guts, though. I'm just happy to learn that he's the same old Battler-kun. Battler may be bigger, but he's still Battler. This brat's always been terrified of falling off planes and boats and stuff. That must be Asuma's blood then, right? When he was a kid, and we went to theme parks, we always went on some sort of the wilder rides. That's probably what did it. Didn't they have height restrictions for those? No. I don't mean that kind. You know, those paddle boats and teacup rides, right? Looks like we took those a bit too rough back in the day. You've always gone a bit overboard on rides like that, Rudolph. I see. Poor Battler. Poor Battler indeed. Still, it's comforting in a way. Even after all this time, nothing says Battler like a fear of riding things. Oni-chan isn't scared of riding things. He's just scared of falling off them. Stop running around. Maria, you're one of the big cousins now, right? Set a good example. Pardon me. I've brought some tea for everyone. A pleasant aroma followed Shannon as she came into the room pushing a serving cart. Even Angie and Maria, who had been running around in circles, sat down obediently when they heard the drinks were here. By the way, what's Dad up to? He should be down soon. He's been rushing all morning trying to choose a tie. You mean all that about choosing an attire suitable for the family head? Father's always been picky about ties, hasn't he? It's just something he has a passion for. Staying stylish is a good thing. And yet, he always shows up wearing the same tie in the end. The family members all burst out laughing. The sweet scent of Goda's specially made pumpkin tea spread through the parlor, and the calm atmosphere grew more cheery and excited. Look, Mama, look. It's pumpkin cookie for Halloween. Oh, that's right. This sweet scent is kabocha, isn't it? That's right. Today we have some special pumpkin-flavored tea for you to try. It really is delicious, so I suggest you try some without sugar first. Nei-san, watch your sleeve. Whoa. So kabocha tea really does exist. Goda really does his homework. Delicious. This is excellent. You can taste the kabocha's natural sweetness. Kabocha, huh? Still, kabocha always tastes best in tempura. It's pumpkin, not kabocha. Yeah, pumpkin is different than kabocha. This is pumpkin. Maria seemed to think the English word was more fitting for Halloween, but it looked like Angie thought kabocha and pumpkins were entirely different things. Everyone laughed, but Angie, not knowing why she was being laughed at, cocked her head to one side discontentedly. Just when it looked like she was about to get in a bad mood and start grumbling, Maria started teaching her a cookie game, and Angie immediately became engrossed with that distraction. Then the sound of the approaching footsteps drifted in from the hallway. When the relatives realized whose footsteps those must be, they straightened up. The quick footsteps stopped for just a moment outside the parlor door. And as though someone was taking a deep breath and setting up a dramatic pause, as though someone was taking a deep breath and setting up a dramatic pause. Then the door exploded open as Kinzo yelled out loud, with Genji and Nanjo standing behind him.
Happy Halloween! And trick or treat! Trick or treat!
Cousins shouted back. The adults returned the greeting too, looking embarrassed and refusing to meet his gaze. Angie alone stood there with her mouth open, unable to comprehend what had just happened. Yeah, you and me both, Angie. Welcome, grandchildren. If you don't give me a treat, I shall trick you. Go ahead, Maria. Happy Halloween, Grandfather. I got you a really incredible one this year. You'll be surprised. Maria picked up a present that had been hidden behind a sofa. Come to think of it, all of the relatives were now holding similar packages. Come, Angie. You too. Give this to Grandfather. Kiri handed Angie a neatly wrapped present.
Oh, Maria!
Oh, Maria, you're always so thoughtful. Grandpa's so happy. As Kinzo took Maria's present, a smile broke out across his face, and he rubbed his cheek up against it. Master, your dignity. Oh, that's right. You have pleased your grandfather greatly, my granddaughter. In return for the treat you had given me, I promise not to trick you at all this coming year. Now it's your turn, Grandfather. If you don't give me a treat, I'll prank you. I'm aware. Genji? Here. Genji fished through something that looked like Santa Claus's sack and pulled out a present addressed to Maria, handing it over to Kinzo. Here you go, Maria. Here's a present from me. I'm warning you, it's too cute. Such a waste to give it to you. This is a present from the Ushumiya head to Maria. It is a cute, an item worthy of the Ushumiya family's dignity and grace. Take good care of it. Thank you, Grandfather. I love you. Oh, Maria, my adorable granddaughter. By this point, even Genji had to give up on Kinzo's dignity. Still, the dignity of the family head had lasted a full 10 seconds longer than usual this year. Probably a cultural thing, but I think this Kinzo has far more dignity than the one that we've come to know through these other 7 chapters. Unabashed, adoration of your family is nothing to say. Nothing to say you've lost your dignity over. Happy Halloween, Grandfather. This is from me.
Happy Halloween.
And here's mine. I hope you like it. Happy Halloween. Oh, George, Jessica, I must thank you once again this year. I'm so happy. With tears streaming down his face, Kinzo hugged George and Jessica. Oh, and Battler too. I'm so glad you've returned to the family. It's been lonely without you these 6 years. Well, anyway, happy Halloween. Not sure if you'll like it though. Don't worry, Battler. I know you have things you want to say, things you want to ask, but now is not the time. Grandfather, I'm glad you have returned to the Ushumiya family. It makes me feel happy. Slowly, Kinzo moved forward and hugged Battler. Battler drew back at first, but then he understood Kinzo's feelings and hugged him back. Angie watched the scene play out, shocked. Was Ushumiya Kinzo always this kind of person? Angie, you're up. Go on, give it to Grandfather. Oh, okay. Angie didn't have a clue what was going on. She took the present her mother had given her and walked forward timidly. Kinzo's face, which had looked so cheery a second ago, suddenly became stern as soon as Angie stepped forward. No, it didn't become stern. That expression was the one always worn by the Kinzo inside Angie's mind. This was Ushumiya Kinzo. He was fickle, short-tempered, and always wore a stern expression on his face. This was the most terrifying person in the Ushumiya family. I felt as though the world was suddenly quiet, and it only did it when I stepped forward. Why? Why only for me? But isn't this how it should be? Isn't this the Ushumiya Kinzo that I would expect? The Ushumiya Kinzo that I understand? It was like a puppet. I was like a puppet carrying a tea tray. I walked forward, bewildered, with the present held out in front of me, and stopped in front of Kinzo. Without letting his expression change in the slightest, Kinzo slowly reached out and touched the present. In an instant, Angie was caught in a firm embrace, present and all. Kinzo's white beard rubbed against her cheek. Grandpa is so happy. I'm so glad to be blessed with such lovely grandchildren. I feel happy. So happy the tears just won't stop. Master, your nose is running. That and your dignity. Oh, Genji, forgive me. As the old man blew his nose, he didn't look like he could possibly be anyone other than a kindly grandpa overcome with tears at his grandchildren's gifts. Thank you, Angie. I heard that you chose to come, even though you weren't feeling well. I'm so glad. Here, this is for you. He pressed a large gift box to Angie's chest. He finally realized that all of Kinzo's presents were wrapped differently, and in boxes of different sizes. I wonder what he got you, Angie. I hear that grandfather always personally chooses what he'll give each one of us. Pretty incredible with all these people. He picks them himself? Every year? He does. He does what every year? He picks what himself? The bizarre ceremony happens every year? The cousins were all happily chattering about what their Halloween presents would be this year. Maria came up to Angie and suggested that they compare the weights of their presents, but for some reason Angie just stared blankly. After that, the adults also handed their presents to Kinzo one by one, receiving a gift in return, along with considerate words about about their health and questions about how they'd been doing recently. Yeah, something is up. After watching to see all the exchanges had been completed, Goda appeared. Lunch was ready. Ah, is it ready? Come, ladies and gentlemen. Let us enjoy the splendid lunch that Goda has prepared for us. Quickly, to the dining hall. This way, everyone. Follow me. We will carry your presents to your rooms in the guest house. Please, feel free to leave them here as you leave for lunch. The relatives stood up, leaving their presents where they lay on the tables and sofas, followed Kinzo out of the parlor. Only Angie remained standing there, stunned, as she clutched the present Kinzo had given her. Goda's lunches had never betrayed expectations before. When Hideyoshi said that these meals were the only reason anyone ever came to these family conferences, everyone laughed and nodded. The delicious food caused conversations to erupt all over the room. You've gotten so big. How have you been lately? Pretty good. It was a fun meal with everyone asking each other about the latest and laughing together. The Ushiromiya family sat at the meals in a specified ranked seating order. The adult siblings, the cousins, and the spouses all sat in groups. So, conversations sprung up naturally. This is probably the only time this has been a family reunion moment this entire series. Yeah. And it's Spatler telling this story, right? So is he just giving Angie a happy story? Angie had withdrawn slightly from the cousins chat and was looking around the dining hall. What are Kinzo and the adult siblings doing? Their conversations seemed to be peaceful and fun. Most of the times, the siblings were mothers or fathers of their own households. However, when they gathered together by themselves in front of Kinzo, that burden was lifted from their shoulders. And they became young and bright as though they'd gone back to being kids again. Rudolph, who was actually an easygoing father who nonetheless had a sense of dignity, became so bright and cheery in this group that it almost looked like there was another battler. Even Kinzo looked peaceful and relaxed. He didn't say a word about money or the inheritance. In fact, he didn't even insult his children or call them incompetent. He just looked like a happy old man, genuinely pleased to have the whole family together for one time this year. The group of spouses was just as harmonious. The mothers kept bringing up problems with education and household matters, as well as family health issues. Hideyoshi and Nanjo happily joined in on their conversation. What about the cousins? There was no way such an enjoyable meal with such a fun group of friends could fail to be raucous. Maria was in her element, showing off her knowledge of Halloween trivia. George and Jessica would nod in understanding, Battler would say something stupid, and Maria would laugh at him. If I wanted, I could easily join in on that conversation. And if the dessert caught my attention, I could easily slip out of the conversation too. It was happiness, both fun and natural. It felt like waking up from a daydream to be greeted by the rays of the springtime sun. According to the weather report, we can expect a big storm sometime tonight. It's supposed to be a typhoon. Looks like we'll be stuck here for more than one night again. I do not mind in the least. You may stay here as long as you wish. If it would mean seeing my adorable grandchildren's faces more, I would pray for rain every day. Give us a break. We do have work to get back to. Why don't you leave the island, Father? That way you could see your grandchildren whenever you wanted. True, living on a remote island may have a sense of majesty, but haven't you had your fill of it? Too noisy in the city. I much prefer a quiet island, with no one on it but my family. I like it here. But on Rokkenjima, if something happens, it would take some time for a doctor to arrive. I agree. At your age, I think you should at least consider moving to Nijima. I am old now. I wanted to live in peace, surrounded only by my family. And I am satisfied. I have this island to make the dream of mine come true. Father. Seems I've gotten you all down. Ladies and gentlemen, this ends Goda's lunch. Grandchildren, it will probably be raining constantly starting tomorrow. Now is your last chance to see clear skies. Why not enjoy the flowers and take a walk on the beach? That sounds good. Okay, everyone, let's go. I want to see the flowers and walk on the beach. We can collect shells and collect glass, too. Collect glass? That sounds a bit dangerous. Fragments of glass get washed up by the waves and become round, beautiful gems, which drift to shore. Did you forget, Battler? Remember how we used to pick them up together? Oh, were those glass fragments? I always thought they were just pretty stones. Have you ever seen a glass gem, Angie? No. Then let's go. I'll show you. Let's go, let's go. But the first to see them gets to keep them. I'm gonna get them all. In that case, I'm not gonna lose either. Let's see who can find the prettiest, biggest glass gem. Alright. At times like this, why not be a kid? I'm not gonna lose either. Then, we'll head down to the beach. Indeed. Take it easy and enjoy your time together, grandchildren. The cousins rose from their seats and noisily left the dining hall. Maria grabbed Angie's hand and dragged her along. However, Angie's expression was vague and absent-minded, the opposite of Maria's full smile. We've got a nice family conference going on. As you would expect it to be. Okay. I'm going to take a short break, grab some water. I encourage you to do the same. Stretch your legs. We'll do a couple more chapters tonight. Probably 2 more chapters. Be right back. They searched for bits of glass, polished by the waves to become small and gem-like. They caught up on news of each other's lives and joked around. They wrote words in the sand. They chased the receding waves and ran away from the coming ones. The cousins enjoyed the time they had to themselves. Come back, Maria. You won't get off easy this time. No way, no way. You'll get hurt if you fall. Be careful, you two. Feels like the wind's gotten stronger. Maybe we should head back soon. You're right. I think the sky's getting cloudier too. Battler, Maria. I think we should call it a day soon and head back to the guest house for the time being. Aw, no way. I want to play more. Hey, don't ignore your cousin. Okay, that's all for now. Here, I'll give you my glass gem. Really? Thank you, Battler. Now I have the most, so I win. Angie, are you okay? Yeah. What's up, Angie? You look a little down. She's just tired. Come on, let's all head back together. Angie's expression probably did look tired. However, Battler alone thought he saw something else in it. What's wrong? Can you tell me? It's nothing. She said that, but something in her expression showed that she was unsatisfied for some reason. Since Angie didn't say what it was, and Battler couldn't think of anything, he was unable to guess anymore. So, he squeezed her small hand, silently letting her know that she could really tell him whenever she was ready. Even though it had seemed like such a bright sunny day a second ago, the sky turned gray and the wind started to feel more annoying than pleasant. If they waited around, they would probably see scattered raindrops as well soon. I guess it'll be raining the whole time from now on. What a pain. Still, even though it didn't last long, it was fun to be a kid again. I can't wait to show Mama this glass gem. I'm gonna tell her I won. Even though you only won because I gave you mine? I got it, so it's mine. So I won. Angie walked distractedly, pulled along by her brother. George and the others thought that she had probably woken up too early and was tired, so they didn't try to talk to her much. As they reached the end of the forested path, the rose garden lay before them. They could see strong winds making the rose bushes wave. Mama, look! I won! Maria ran forward, waving her hands about and yelling. It looked as though Rosa was waving to them from the front of the guest house. I'm gonna head back to my room for a sec. I'll meet you in the cousin's room right after. Okay, got it. See you later then. Jessica ran off in the direction of the mansion. George turned around, as though suggesting that they had better get going too. However, when he saw Angie standing still with a crabby look on her face, he realized that something might have put her in a bad mood. Is everything okay? Yeah. She's fine. Sorry, but would you mind going on ahead of us? Sure. Got it. See you later. George headed for the guest house. The only ones left in the rose garden were Battler, who was waving at George, and Angie, who was still staring at the ground and holding Battler's hand. For the past few minutes, he had repeatedly asked Angie what was wrong. He realized that this wasn't anything like a stomachache or something obvious that had made her grumpy. However, young girls sometimes get upset for reasons that only they can understand. Battler knew this, so he didn't rush her in any way, and continued to gaze around the beautiful rose garden holding her hand. Oni-chan. What's up? Where are we? She asked the question as though she was talking about something on the other side of the silver screen. Though Battler understood what the question meant, he played dumb. Where are we? We're on Rokkenshima, right? You're wrong. No, I'm not. How is this Rokkenshima? It's the Rokkenshima of October 4th, 1986. The Rokkenshima you've wanted to see for so long.
嘘よ。
That's a lie.
どうして
Why do you say that?
こんなの。
This is totally fake. Oh, let's go, Angie. Angie wrenched her hand from her brother's grip. That hand hit a rose and sent a flower petal flying.
俺は嘘なんかつか
I don't lie.
これのどこが
How is it supposed to be the truth? Angie spat those words out. However, Battler's expression remained calm and composed.
何が気に入らない
What don't you like about it?
後宮金蔵って
Kinzo, for example.
あんな人のわ
He
け
wasn't anything like that, right?
孫たちとしばらく
What grandfather wouldn't smile when he's been reunited with his grandchildren after such a long time?
少なくとも後宮
Ushimiya Kinzo wasn't that kind of person.
後宮金蔵って
Ushimiya Kinzo was
厳格で気難しい
strict, discontented, short-tempered, quick to anger.
分かってるじゃない
So you do understand.
何を
What was all that back there?
あれのどこ
How was that supposed to be Ushimiya Kinzo?
ハロウィン
Halloween?
プレゼント交換
Exchanging presents?
何よそれ
What the hell was that?
こんなの
That's nothing like Ushimiya Kinzo.
ロケン島
This is nothing like Rokkenjima.
エンジェルは
Don't you remember, Angie?
覚えて
何がよ
Remember what?
こんなのは
We did that every year, didn't
恒
we?
例だったじゃねえか
これ
Every year?
これが
That?
そうだよな
Well, I guess it's no
お
surprise.
前が親族
The last time you went to a family conference, you were less than 6 years old.
なら
So it's only natural that you wouldn't remember.
無理はない
覚えてなくてもって
Only natural that I don't remember? Angie understood what her brother was trying to say. However, she couldn't accept it.
後宮金蔵
It's true that Ushimiya Kinzo was a rigid man.
若かった時
When he was younger, he was really strict with his kids, apparently.
それが半ば
And well,
トラウマになって
It's probably not wrong to say that it was pretty traumatic for Dad and the others. And that's why they're still a bit scared of
それ
him.
じゃない
The grand tale of how Kinzo restored the Ushimiya family was more than enough to paint him as a rigid, terrifying man. Furthermore, Kinzo was an investor. All the legends and tales that made him seem more mysterious had probably worked into his business's favor. At times, Kinzo may even have acted out this part that people expected, endeavoring to make his presence all the more overpowering. That's why the world at large spoke of Ushimiya Kinzo as a strict, short-tempered man. And they even thought of him as a fickle, bold, incomprehensible eccentric.
でもそれは
But that was just the face grandfather showed to the world.
後宮家で
That's not how he acted in private, alone with his family.
あの目尻を下げて孫たちを溺愛する涙腺の緩んだ
Are you saying that weeping old man who doted over his grandchildren is the real Ushimiya
本当
Kinzo?
の姿
エンジェだって
He must have played with you and patted your head many times.
本当に
Do
覚
you
え
really not remember? This is an interesting one. This is Battler saying, Angie, you don't remember, but like you don't remember because you were so young, but you've let everyone else's stories about this family frame your like knowing of this family. You've let in stories you've been told tell you about this family, and now that I'm telling you something different, you don't believe it. But he's claiming that he's telling the truth. I wonder if he's just trying to placate her and make her think everything was all nice and peachy, and that everyone just exploded or something. Or if this is actually the truth. Stuff like that might have happened once or twice. And that's actually, I mean, we've talked about it a lot as I've played through this series, right? That is the point of the series. Who is Angie here to deny what Battler's telling her? It's kind of like a devil's proof. She has no way to prove that this didn't happen on the island in 86. Stuff like that might have happened once or twice, but that must have been a mere whim of his. My parents told me all the time, grandfather's a terrifying person, so make sure you act properly. They always said that he's very scary, so take care.
だから
And that means
怖い人な
he
の
was a scary person.
幼いお前は
When you were little.
過剰に聞いて鵜呑みにするよく言えば素直な
Angie was only 6 at the time. Yeah, no, I don't remember anything, really, from before I was, like, 6. When you were little, you would always accept whatever your parents said and take it too seriously. Put it nicely, you were obedient. But to put it bluntly, you were a kid with an overactive imagination.
親父たちは
Dad and the others were just trying to make you realize how important it was to be polite.
念を押していただけなんだ
私見てたもん
But I saw it.
知ってたもん
I knew about it. I knew that Ushimiya Kinzo was a scary person. I've seen him yelling in anger. I'll never forget it. Well, like you saw just now, grandfather could be a bit abrupt at times. He might have just been trying to surprise you. Or it might have slipped out when he was having a serious discussion with his kids. You think I just got scared for no reason? And I got the wrong idea? That can't be. That can't be true. I mean, I still remember it. I know I saw Ushimiya Kinzo yelling and being scary. Mom and Dad were terrified too. So, I know I'm right. Yeah, that is a common thing, right? They almost like, I mean, you see that in a lot of places. They almost like, it's like why a lot of grandparents spoil their grandchildren, because they see how they raise their children and perhaps have some regrets about it and don't want the grandchildren to have that same, you know, hardship or trouble. The impression you had of grandfather when you were young remained with you, and that impression grew up inside you as you grew up. How many times did Angie see Kinzo in her life? How old was she the last time she saw him? Angie, who got sick easily and went under pressure, could have gone to Rokkenjima often. And since she was absent for the family conference, she couldn't have gone to Rokkenjima often. And since she was absent for the family conference when she was 6, the last memories of him must have come from when she was just 5. But even you haven't seen Ushimiya Kinzo for 6 whole years. That's right. But when I finally came back after 6 years, I saw that grandfather hadn't changed in the slightest. Kinzo was fickle, so you could never understand what he was thinking. And he was an eccentric with a creepy love for the occult, and it is true that he had a love for the occult. Yeah, it was a bit strange hobby for him to get into in his final years. I'll admit that this hobby of collecting strange objects to scare his grandchildren and laugh at them wasn't exactly praiseworthy. Even Battler had been pranked by Kinzo in the past. He'd do things like showing off an attaché case with 7 strange stakes in it. Say something about how they were once used in the Middle Ages to gouge the hearts of victims in a witch's ceremony. When Kinzo did things like that, it was pretty scary, but looking back on it now, they were really just childish pranks. Grandfather only scared his grandchildren because he wanted to joke around with them. I'd be willing to bet that grandfather pulled a prank like that on you too. No surprise that, young as you were, you'd let that scare you and convince you that grandfather was a strange, terrifying person. I don't know what you're talking about, Oni-chan. Angie bit her lower lip and stared at the ground. She said she didn't understand, but in truth, she understood perfectly and was refusing to accept it. Remember how we traded Halloween presents in the parlor just now? Yeah. What was that all about? The Ushimiya family never did anything that sentimental. It's almost as though you don't remember it at all. Are you saying I got presents once too? I don't remember anything like that. That could never happen. You really think that grandfather, a man who loved the occult and Western traditions, wouldn't celebrate Halloween? Grandfather's Happy Halloween was pretty much the standard greeting at our family conferences. He must have said it to you too. Youth can be so cruel. Even though grandfather put all his heart into choosing those presents, it looks like your heart didn't remember anything. The pumpkin candy. Kinzo loved Halloween. Are you saying that I was just too young to remember? And that was the truth of October 4th? On that day, just like 6 years before, grandfather entered the parlor with the cry of Happy Halloween. Then he and I traded presents, and he shed tears over our long-awaited reunion after a 6-year gap. Grandfather seemed so sad that Angie wasn't able to come. So he gave Kiri a present, telling her to make sure Angie got it. I never heard anything about a present like that. Mom never gave it to me. True. She never had the chance. I don't believe it. I won't believe that it was Ushumiya Kinzo. Then what about the family conference itself? Wasn't there a tense argument over the distribution of the inheritance? All the adult siblings were in money trouble. That's why they all longed for Kinzo's inheritance money. Angie, where did you hear that from? What do you mean where? It's the truth, isn't it? Do you think Dad would talk to you about financial difficulties with his company when you were that age? Not just Dad. Even if Uncle Kraus, Aunt Ava, Aunt Rosa were in money trouble and wanted Kinzo's inheritance money, do they think they'd talk about it in front of you? But it's true, isn't it? In the end, it was true. Angie's words were not mistaken. Not only Rudolph, but even Kraus, Hideyoshi, and Rosa had companies in money trouble. People started talking about the Rokkenjima explosion accident as though it was some sort of conspiracy, and a mystery imagined by the public covered the island. Weekly magazines and television shows researched the circumstances of Kinzo's children at the time, and in the future where Angie lived, that research had all been made public. You learned about all of that after 1986. But it's fact, isn't it? There's no difference between facts and truth. I disagree. Does that prove that the inheritance created a strained atmosphere between the relatives on Rokkenjima? I guess that might fit with your memory of your parents telling you repeatedly to be extra polite at the family conference. Are you saying that what I know about Rokkenjima, what I know about Ushumiya family, is all wrong? You're the one who's wrong, Oni-chan. There's no way something like that could be possible. I won't accept that that was Ushumiya Kinzo. I could never accept that. So you don't believe, Angie? That's right. I don't believe. I don't understand why you're showing me something like this. After all, this is your game. No, your game board, isn't it? First, it was Beto and Byrne. One witch after the other that sneered at my fate, trying to make me surrender in their games. But I want the truth. Witch illusions won't work on me. Now I get it, you damn witches. So you've sent Oni-chan as the final assassin to finish me off. You're right. This is my game. So of course this is my tale, and I'm the one making it. That's why I'm able to add in what-if situations. Like what would happen if you came to the island too? See? You made this tale. It's all a pack of lies. A fiction you created. You're right. This is all a fiction I created. See? You've admitted it. You have, haven't you? Just like I thought. This is all a lie that you made. Why are you lying to me? Why won't you tell me the truth? Because there's something I need you to understand. Something more important than the truth. Oh. Something more important than the truth? What the hell are you talking about? The purpose of my game is to make you understand that. Just as Beto's games were made to make Battler believe in witches, Battler's game was made to show Angie something that was more important than the truth. Games never bring about their intended ends by force. After all, Beto's game could never be won for all eternity, unless Battler acknowledged witches on his own. Battler's game was the same. Battler couldn't win in this game, unless Angie acknowledged it herself. So Battler had advanced this game just as Beto had done in the past. To believe it or not, to accept it or not, the decision lay solely in the hands of the opponent. And so, Battler was trying to enshroud Angie with his own illusion. I finally get it. This is a game between me and you, Oni-chan. Angie? I'm not trying to challenge you to a game. No, this is a game. I made a wish, hoping to learn the truth of October 4th, 1986. And so you invited me to this game, saying that you'd show me the truth. And now you're showing me this strange illusion, trying to make me believe it's the truth. Well, too bad. I'm already used to dealing with witches. I can totally tell you're trying to use that kind of face of yours to trick... Excuse me. I can totally tell you're trying to use that kind face of yours to trick me. The big brother realized that no words of his would have any effect on the enraged little sister. So, he quietly listened to Angie's words. But even so, Angie was dissatisfied. I've heard more than enough of this stupid farce. If you don't plan on telling me the truth, then end it all now. I'll find my own truth. For myself. I won't rely on you. That's right. There never was anyone I could rely on anyways. I've always been all alone. Oh. Sorry. I won't let you leave this game. Ah, that's right. Unless the game master admits defeat, the game never ends, right? That isn't what I mean. I'm just telling you to stay quiet and listen. Oh, sure. I'll just stay quiet then. Even if a player isn't around, the pieces just move by themselves and the game moves forward. Isn't that how it works? That's right. A player can step back and become an observer for a while if they want. And they can return and join in whenever they want to. Then I'll do that. This is an endurance contest. It'll keep going until you stop trying to cover up the truth. Something more important than the truth? I don't get it. How can anything like that exist? Does, Angie. Whether my tale is the truth or not, the fact remains that you lost something precious on this island. Dad, Mom, and you. I lost my family and everything that mattered to me. She spat out those words as though no further questioning would do any good, and looked away. Even as he watched this, Battler's expression remained gentle. Just keep going however you like. Later, Oni-chan. At least make sure you watch the tale. Even just listening is enough. I think Battler wants to show Angie that her family does care for her, and did care for her until the end. And that what she was shown in the last game, that Kiri didn't even want to be her mother, is all lies. If I feel like it, later. Angie's eyes clouded. Then, a particularly strong gust of wind blew by, sending her hair flying. The wind must have been carrying some dust with it. Angie's nose twitched, and she sneezed loudly. Oni-chan? What's up? How long are we gonna stand here? The weather's all weird. Let's go back to the guest house. Angie's eyes weren't cloudy anymore. However, the tone and atmosphere about those eyes seemed somehow different from before. In a manner typical of young girls, Angie signaled that she was bored and wanted to go do something. This Angie was clearly a 6-year-old Angie. Good point. Then, why don't you head back to the guest house now? I'm gonna stay here. Why? It'll start raining soon. Won't be long now, so I'll wait here a bit longer. You're waiting here? Who are you waiting for? Oh? Then to Angie's eyes, it looked as though the strong winds were carrying flakes of gold along with them. No, she had definitely seen something, but she wasn't able to describe what she had seen. So to her, it had seemed like flakes of gold dancing on the wind. So, here you are. I've been waiting a while now. It was as though he was talking to the wind. Oh? Battler spoke to the empty rose garden. Hold on. This track goes hard. That can't be right. After all, it was clear from his words that he was talking to someone right in front of him. So Angie thought it must be someone that she couldn't see and rubbed her eyes. Then, when she opened her eyes wide, another large gust of wind blew past her. She shut her eyes immediately, and when she timidly opened them, from the other end of the rose garden, yes, from the path that led up from the harbor, a person appeared. To Angie, it looked as though she had appeared along with a cloud of gold flakes carried by the wind. You're late, Beto. Am I? I'd call it early. You should ride in the boat with us every now and then. You mean grasp the handrails and scream alongside you? Yeah, sure. Let's scream. I see. How interesting. Yes, I suppose I did arrive too late. The pair casually walked up to each other and hugged. It looked like a pair of friends being reunited after several years. Angie, surprised by this unfamiliar woman, looked for somewhere to hide. However, her eyes met Beto's, and she was unable to escape. Oh, you must be Angie. She was shocked to hear this unfamiliar woman suddenly use her name. Look, even she can be cute when she's 6 years old. Oni-chan? Who is this person? A friend of mine. A friend? How could you say that? Oni-chan's friend? This is Beatrice. You've heard from grandfather, haven't you? About the Golden Witch, who gave the Ushiromiya family its gold? Haven't I heard that before? Golden Witch. Now I remember. That was the scary witch who would snatch you up and carry you off into the forest if you didn't listen to your parents, or stayed up too late on Rokonjima. Mom said that on rainy nights, if you look out the window in the dark forest, you might see the witch looking back at you and get snatched away. Which must mean that I'm supposed to be wandering about in the cold rain, looking into each window to find kids staying up too late? How pathetic would that be? Good point. Angie, your parents just made that story up to get you to go to bed on time. Beatrice doesn't do stuff like that. Very well. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Beatrice, the Golden Witch.
No.
Oh, or her grandchild at least. I am Beatrice, the Golden Witch. Or her grandchild at least. Grandchild? That grandchild part's a bit of a killjoy. Well, it's true, isn't it? That person that grandfather got the gold from and called the Gold Witch was your grandmother, right? I guess. The grandchild of the Golden Witch, am I? Can't I get a better title than that? Is this person a witch? Yep, he is. He's a guest who's been invited to the family conference today. She isn't a scary witch. She's gonna take me away into the forest, isn't she? Is she? Damn, Rudolph and Kiri. Just what do they think they're telling this kid about me? I don't do things like that. I'll lodge a firm protest later. You look like a fiercely emotional person, but she wasn't at all what Angie had expected the creepy Golden Witch to be like. She was very loud, overreacting to everything. Nothing at all like the witch Maria had talked about, who had lived for 1,000 years and had various servants from the demon world. She looked, well, like an energetic young woman, the kind Angie's mom might have gotten along great with. Her brother and the witch talked together happily, like a pair of close friends. Dogs tend not to trust people they meet for the first time. However, people say that they calm down once they see that their owner is on good terms with the stranger. Surely, something similar to this was going on in Angie's heart. Angie kept staring at this pushy, temperamental woman who called herself a witch, as she chatted happily with her brother. What's this key for? Beato noticed the gold key hanging from Angie's neck. Angie automatically and defensively grasped it. That's Angie's precious key. After hearing these vague words, the witch stared blankly for a second. But almost immediately, she seemed to understand what he meant. I see. Is this how it is? I thought it'd be easier to understand if I made it clear what she's supposed to do. Fear not, Angie. No one's gonna steal your precious key. Are you sure? Of course. That key belongs to you, and the choice is yours. Valor and the rest of us are merely signposts to guide you on your path. When her brother gave her the key, he had said that it was very important, so she had to take good care of it. Angie didn't have a clue what that key was for, but it looked like Beato did. However, just like her brother had done earlier, Beato only spoke in riddles. This irritated Angie. But for the time being, the Gold Witch said she didn't intend to steal the key, so Angie calmed down a little. Do you know what this key is used for? But of course. However, I cannot tell you. Why not? Because you must decide how to use that key for yourself. The witch said the same thing as my brother. The pair nodded to each other, but it was all Greek to me. Felt like someone had laid out a riddle that everyone knew but me, and everyone was making fun of me. You'll know soon enough. Don't waste time thinking about it. Angie held the key tightly. Even if she didn't understand what it meant, it was her own key, and her big brother had told her to take good care of it. With her youthful suspicion, she was scared that the witch might ask her to hand it over, saying that she'd teach her how to use it. Of course, her thoughts showed up clearly on her face. The witch couldn't help but laugh at that honest expression. Fear not. It is impossible for anyone to steal that key from you. No one can steal it? You might say that it had been imbued with magic to make it so. At any rate, fear not. Neither I nor Battler, nor anyone else on this island can steal that key from you. Really? Yeah, really. The magic won't let them. The key was hanging around her neck like an ordinary necklace. Angie could take it off right now if she wanted, and if an adult tried to use force, it seemed like it would be easy for them to take it away. However, both her brother and the witch said that it was protected by a magic that would stop anyone from stealing it. Does magic really exist? Even the 6-year-old Angie knew about the word magic. However, she also realized that real magic didn't exist, and that certain kinds of magic tricks were sometimes called magic. However, her brother and the witch were talking about magic itself. Yeah, magic exists. Really? Maria spoke of me often, did she not? She says that witches exist, and so often tells you that magic exists, correct? True. Maria had talked about that many times. When they were just playing, Angie had believed her, more or less. However, Angie was, in some ways, sharp for her age, and when she heard Maria talking happily about magic, she sometimes thought that such a thing really couldn't exist. Then, show me. Show me magic, or I won't believe you. Hold up a sec. Beto just arrived on the island, and she hasn't even gotten to say hi to everyone at the mansion yet. Battler spoke as though he was trying to smooth something over. When she heard that, Angie became sure that magic didn't exist after all. Magic is just a bunch of lies. I know. Hey, stop that. You'll hurt Beto's feelings. No. It's no problem. Anyone would say that upon meeting a witch. Normally, I would ignore provocation from such a small child, but she is your little sister after all. Why don't we give her a special showing? Are you sure? Of course I am. Watch carefully, Angie. Okay. Yeah, this is like so different than the question arcs, right? So, like, Battler and Beto are getting along. Battler believes in magic. Though Angie had challenged the witch, now that she was about to be shown magic, she looked a bit hesitant. She gulped and stared up at the witch's face. The witch held out her left hand, bringing it close to Angie's face. Then she slowly spread her fingers. Angie, thinking that she was about to be turned into a frog, shrank back. However, after waiting a while and grinding her teeth, she realized that nothing was happening. So the part of her that had been scared began to get angry. Nothing's happening. Don't jump to conclusions. I haven't used magic yet. See? Look carefully at my palm. I'm not hiding anything, correct? Oh, so that's what she's doing. Now that she's finally understood, Angie checked both sides of the witch's hands. Yeah, there's nothing there. Watch closely. I'll make a fist, and then stretch out my index finger. She stretched out her index finger and held it right in front of Angie's eyes. Angie, thinking that she'd lose the game if she took a step back, stood her ground and concentrated on the fingertip. Watch the tip of my finger closely. Ready? It'll be fast. The witch rapidly lifted her index finger high into the air, pointing at the heavens. Just as Angie looked up to see the finger raised high, it swung down as though trying to dodge her gaze. In that manner, up, down, left, right, and then left again. Angie, feeling as though she'd lose it if she couldn't keep up with the fingertip, swung her face this way and that, looking serious. Ever since she was very young, Angie had hated to lose. She would take even the most trivial games seriously, determined not to lose to the adults. The witch's hand moved faster and faster. Angie didn't lose track of it. Then, the high-pointing finger was swung down all of a sudden. The index finger curled up again, and the hand was held in a simple fist. Could it be that something was going to come out of that hand? Angie, who had suspected that this might happen, had followed that finger very closely. There was no way that once empty hand could have grabbed anything. Ready? I'm going to open my hand. The witch slowly opened her right fist. And there...
どうして
How?
どうしてお兄ちゃん
How, Oni-chan? The witch gave the cutely wrapped candy to Angie as a present. Angie took it and desperately searched for some kind of trick on it, but it was just an everyday, ordinary candy.
どうして
How?
ネジなんでしょお兄ちゃ
That
ん
was a trick, wasn't it,
お
Oni-chan?
兄ちゃん
Oni-chan?
いや、
Nope,
魔法だよ。
that was magic.
エンジェも
You were watching the whole time, weren't you?
うん
Since I was watching the whole time, how did it happen? Angie didn't like it, but she was unable to see how that could have been anything other than magic. And the little sister furrowed her brow and bit her lower lip. Or as she did that, her brother gently told her again that it was magic.
そろそろ屋
It's
敷
about time for me to head to the mansion to pay my respects.
バトラも付き
You should come along, Battler.
バトラは一人
I'll suffocate if I have to go alone.
そうか。
You sure?
じゃあ、
Then I'll join
エ
you.
ンジェはどうする？
What about you, Angie?
ゲストハウスに
Will you go back to the guest house?
お兄ちゃんと
I want to stay with you, Oni-chan. She still couldn't accept it. However, could it really be? She still looked grumpy, but it looked like she was getting interested in this witch.
さあ
Then let's go. The Golden Witch returns.
黄金の魔女
The
の
Golden Witch's grandchild returns, you mean?
そのキャッ
We
チ
really need to do something about that name.
なんとかならぬものか
The big brother and the witch really did seem close. With kindred spirits like a pair of comedians, they started walking. Aw. Angie held onto the corner of her brother's sleeve, trying to make sure he didn't forget about her. Aww. Getting all like... I'm getting nervous. What's gonna happen? Alright, let's do one more chapter tonight. I don't want to go to bed too late. So we'll do this chapter and then call it. The VIP room was filled with the sweet smell of pumpkin tea and then packed with smiles and laughter. Simply splendid. I am glad to see you in such high spirits.
そなたも元気
I could say the same for you. What idiot said you're reaching your last years?
そなたに元気を分け
I just borrow a bit of cheer from you. Okay, hold on now. This world is the world where Kinzo was made known that Shannon was his daughter and was Beatrice's daughter. And she was allowed to walk around like this.
書斎にも
Once I return to my study, I will be little more than a withering, senile old man. And that's why Kinzo's so happy. Because he doesn't have to create this whole ordeal.
そなたの
Enough with your lies. Give it up and swear that you'll be living at large until you're 100.
使ってしまえ
俺も
Same here.
じい様には
I haven't seen you for 6 years, but I was surprised to see how little you'd changed. You little brat.
6年で
So it seems you've learned flattery during those past 6 years.
残念だが
Sorry to disappoint you, but you're hardly a fair judge in the matter. I have grown quite old indeed.
金蔵が100歳
I bet 1,000 yen that Kinzo's still doing great when he turns 100.
ああ、俺も
Yeah, me too.
100歳になっ
Grandfather won't be any different when he's 100.
これ以上褒めても
Don't think you'll get any more presents for complimenting me. Kinzo laughed cheerily. Beto, who sat next to Battler, was also laughing merrily. Angie stood all alone by the window, staring at the others and trying to figure out what sort of relationships the witch of the portrait and her grandfather had. There was a knock on the door.
源氏か
Is that you, Genji? Come in.
失礼いたします
Pardon the intrusion.
クラウス様と
Kraus and Natsu here.
お越しでござい
お父さん
Father, oh, and Battler's here too.
ご無沙汰してお
It
りま
has
す
been some time, Beatrice.
おかわりはありま
Has
せ
there
ん
been any news?
相変わらずで
I'm just the way I used to be.
さあ
Come,
座れ
have a seat.
レンジも
And Angie, why are you standing by the window like
こっ
that?
ちへ来て座
Come
る
over here
の
and sit down.
エンジェ
Angie, come over here.
おいで
ここで見てるから
I'll just watch from here. Angie grasped the candy she had gotten from Beto tightly, and with a gaze that was still wary, she continued to stare. Genji offered her a chair, but Angie just shook her head.
好きにさせて
Let her do as she pleases. Come, Kraus, Natsuhi, and have a seat as well.
何か重要な話
Is it something important?
俺とエンジェ
I guess
が
Angie and I should leave.
おいおい
Hey, if you leave, who's gonna back me up here?
金蔵
Kinzo,
バトラがいて
you don't mind if
構
Battler
わない stays.
stays, do you?
隠す
I have nothing to hide.
構わない
I care not. However, he had called Kraus and Natsuhi to the VIP room to meet Beatrice, the Golden Witch. It was hard to imagine that Kinzo wanted to have a casual conversation. And Kinzo said he didn't mind. After he said he didn't mind, Beato also asked Battler to stay, so he decided to do so. Yep, this is going to be Kinzo saying, "This is my daughter. This is the successor." Effectively like he did with Leon. In order to avoid getting in the way of their conversation, Battler stood up from the sofa and walked over to Angie's window. With the big brother finally come back to Angie, she clung to his waist, as though determined not to let him go away again. I see. That must be why Angie doesn't like me.
What?
Huh? What do you mean? Angie doesn't dislike you, does she? You really don't understand women, Battler. Beato smiled at Angie, but the latter turned to look the other way. Even a young woman is a woman nonetheless. When Beato stopped laughing, the conversation switched gears. Why on earth did Kinzo come and summon Kraus and Natsuhi to the VIP room? And what was he going to talk about? Everyone fell automatically silent. Golden Witch Beatrice. Each and every day I remember the debt the Ushirimiya family owes from when I was saved from the brink of destruction. Yeah, you'd better thank me. Well, it's actually your grandmother he's thanking. Shut up, you. Nope, it comes to the same thing. All of that gold has been lent to the Ushirimiya family for 3 generations, and without cost. We truly cannot be grateful enough. Gold bars are the same as bricks to me. I had nowhere else to put them, so it's a relief to have Kinzo hold on to them. Oh, I'd like to say that just once before I die. Is the Golden Witch a rich person? Well, yeah. After all, she just went and lent grandfather 10 tons of gold. Precisely. I've been borrowing it for several decades, always promising to return it someday. Excuse me. It's a debt I will never be able to fully repay. The head family has never forgotten its gratitude. Isn't that right, dear? Of course. If the Beatrices hadn't kindly lent it to us for 3 generations, the Ushirimiya family would have fallen long ago. Even someone as shrewd as father couldn't have done anything without funds to start with. By now, my money is making money, and the gold that made up my original funds can sleep in peace. Kraus, do you know what I'm about to say? Since the moment Kraus had been summoned here, he had guessed what Kinzo was hinting at now. All things borrowed must be returned someday. That day had finally come. Yes, I understand, father. Beatrice, I do not have many years ahead of me. In fact, this may be the last family conference that we will all attend together. How faint-hearted you sound. You must be joking. Beato alone laughed. She looked at Battler, hoping he'd laugh along with her, but Kinzo and the others remained silent. Apparently, there existed some major concerns about Kinzo's health. Of course, I do not intend to die as soon as next year. Oh, excuse me. However, I don't believe I can make any certain promises about meeting you again. I'll never make promises I can't keep. If you say it so proudly like that, I'm in no position to disagree. Are you serious about this? Beatrice, I want to make amends, and I must do it while I am still in high spirits. For that reason, I made a decision today. What's Grandpa talking about? Quiet. Grandfather's about to talk about something very important. By now, even Battler understood what Kinzo was about to propose. Beato probably realized it too. At one time, the Ushirimiya family had ruled the skies like an eagle, before being crushed by the Great Kanto earthquake. The eagle had one of its wings torn off, and it crawled in the mud, on the point of death. Then they were saved by the Golden Witch's golden miracle. Under the Golden Witch's protection, the eagle had nursed its wounds for many years. And now finally, it was time for the eagle to leave the nest the witch had provided. I will return all of the gold that your grandmother lent me. Kraus, you have no objections, correct? That gold did not belong to the Ushiromiya family in the first place. Of course, I have no objections whatsoever. Are you sure, Kraus? You're an investor, aren't you? You could always do with more money, right? Didn't you want Kinzo to hand the gold over to you? Yes, now that you mention it, it is hard to deny what you say. However, the contract was always between you and father, and the gold was yours to begin with. My husband is the successor, after all. Just as father rebuilt the family in one generation, I'm sure my husband will make the family thrive in his. And this is something the two of us will do together. Well said. Yes, that's the spirit. So, letting go of 10 tons of gold leaves you with no regrets? I must say that is quite impressive. What can a witch do against an opponent who cannot be swayed by the golden magic? I will return the gold to you, but the Ushiromiya family will always be supremely indebted to Beatrice, the Golden Witch. They would return the gold once lent by the Golden Witch. It was both simple and clear. However, the expression worn by the Golden Witch herself was slightly lonely. I lost chat. Okay, there we go. Back. Angie couldn't understand why this was. After all, if you're returning it, I cannot simply say, I don't want it, take it back. Oh well. Beato rose from the sofa. Then she walked up to the window and looked down at the rose garden, waving in the wind. Kraus, I have also decided to present you and the others with my inheritance while I still live. Father, when I die, you will not only be busy with the funeral, but I imagine that you will have Ava and the others at your throats over the inheritance issue. If all is divided now, the funeral will be less trying for you. Kraus, write this down. And Genji, please be our secretary. I will now lay out the distribution of my assets. Kinzo immediately began explaining how the inheritance would be split up. Battler, realizing that he shouldn't be listening in on the conversation, walked over to where Battler was and loitered over by the window. Hey, rich person. If you got too much gold on your hands, I'd be happy to lighten the load. Gold would be more useful if you turned it into firewood and used it to cook a stew. What's the matter? You're looking a bit bored. So this day has finally come. I do feel a bit lonely. You? My magic revived the Ushiromiya family and created Rokkenjima. And now it seems the Ushiromiya family no longer has any need for the power of my gold. It has taken flight, leaving the nest of my magic behind. True. That's how it turned out. I have called Rokkenjima the Witch's Island. My island. Yeah. And now Rokkenjima is returning the gold to me. The day has come for Rokkenjima to awaken from my magic. That's true. I knew that this would be the last game. However, now that we've reached this point, even in a manner such as this, it's surprisingly painful. You're the type of person who looks totally carefree, but who's actually full of lingering attachments and regrets. The cruel and obstinate ones are usually the quickest to grow attached, and then to feel lonely. That's right. That's the kind of person you are. It was a game for you and me. It was fun. A great game you polished to perfection during those 6 years. I once likened it to eternal torture for the both of us. Eternity is happiest when you can still believe that it's eternal. But all things must end, and we have to be aware of that. So we must not avert our eyes. Just as the sun always rises, there's no sun that doesn't set. Of course, Angie didn't have the slightest idea what her brother and this witch were talking about. However, even as young as she was, she could feel that the pair had spent an incredibly long time together, and that they understood each other so well that they might as well have been a married couple. Then, Beato noticed her reaction.
レンジ
Angie,
我々たちは
at one point, the two of us wove games for each other. However, that time is now over.
このゲームは
This game has been made, not for our sake,
ためでなく
but for yours.
そなたのために
They were speaking in riddles again. Grasping the key that hung by her chest, Angie looked at her brother's face.
今日という日の
We need to show you the contents of the cat box of this
お
day.
前に持たせた
That key I gave you is for opening it.
猫箱
What do you mean, cat box?
今日という
He
日
means this day.
エンジがあれほ
With
ど
the miracle of magic, I've brought you to the day you wanted to reach so
エン
much.
ジは
You must continue telling the story of this day as the final witch.
それは
Does that mean that I mustn't remain
こ
here?
こに残ってはいけない
Angie's tone was slightly tense. She understood what her brother meant, and it made her frown.
私は
Just how long have I suffered,
1980
wishing that I could return to the Rokkenshima of
そ
1986?
して私は
And now I finally made it here.
にそれを
So why are you chasing me
お
out?
兄ちゃんは言った
You said I could decide for myself. That's right.
確かにそう言った
I did say that.
帰らないわよ
I'm not leaving.
そして
And please, stop trying to spoil me with this strange, made-up game.
私は
I want to know the truth of this day.
真実を知りたいの
12年を
She's a moody girl. Be it 12 years in the future or in the past.
うるさいわね
Shut
あんた
up.
には聞いてないわよ
I didn't ask you.
それに
And what the hell do you know? What the hell do you think you're doing here?
黄金の魔女は
Didn't the Golden Witch come here to perform her resurrection ceremony?
雷鳴とともに
Didn't you appear on the island with a crash of thunder and try to offer up 13 people as sacrifices?
そのあんたがなんでこんなにものんびり断
Why are you acting so happy and casual?
わけがわかんない
It doesn't make sense.
わけがわからぬの
You're the one who doesn't make sense.
なんだそなた
What are you thinking? Do you want me to be a murderer?
あんたは
You wrote it down in a tale, sealed it in a message bottle, and threw it into the sea. Two of those were discovered later on. Both of them were stories of cruel serial murders.
2本しか
What a shame that only two of them made it to the shore. How sad that land, my greatest masterpiece, was never seen by human eyes. Land.
前から聞きた
I've been waiting to ask this for a while, but what's up with these message bottles?
そなたとのゲーム
As I was working out the details for my game against you, I began creating these tales along the way.
一つのゲーム
Once I realized that I could create endless different tales out of the same game board, it really started to get fun. So you wrote them
俺
down,
に読ませようと
hoping that I'd read them
書き
someday.
溜めてたわ
Precisely.
あまりの
They were so good, I just couldn't bear to wait for your return. Inspired by Agatha Christie, I tried sealing them in bottles and throwing them into the ocean.
ミステリアス
Mysterious, don't you think?
バカにしないで
Don't mock me. These were your plans for the crime.
あなたは黄金のありかをちらつか
Use
せ
the location of the hidden gold to fan up discontent between the family members.
残酷な連続殺
As you
人
plan your
事件を
brutal serial murders.
やれやれ
Eesh.
1900
That what I become in the year 1998?
なるほど
Well,
無理も
I guess I can't blame them.
はあ何を開き
What's
直
with
って
this sudden change of character?
私を表彰
Is this some scheme to make me let my guard down?
私は騙され
I'm not gonna be fooled so easily, Beatrice.
お兄ちゃん
Oni-chan either.
私に魔女
You
は
want to make me surrender and say witches exist, don't you?
その手には乗るもんです
You
か
think I'll fall for that?
私は
I'll find the truth without your help.
借りなくて
ここがその真実
Even though the truth is all around you right now,
そなたはかつ
you once called yourself Gretel, but it seems the name Meidel would be more fitting.
いい加減にして
Enough! Angie tried to slap Beato's cheek. However, the difference between their heights was so great that Beato dodged before the hand could reach her.
バカバカしい
Stupid!
バカバカしい
It's stupid!
私は認め
I
ないわ
won't
よ
accept it.
こんな茶番が
I'll never acknowledge this farce as the
絶対に
truth.
認めないんだから
After Angie yelled those words, her eyes grew cloudy. They cleared up almost immediately. By that time, she had already gone back to her 6-year-old self.
そうだな
You're right, Angie.
それがわらわ
This is the sin I left behind, and the reason for this final tale's existence. As Angie stared blankly, uncomprehending, Beato gently patted her head.
そうとも
Indeed,
この物語は
this tale is a farce.
真実で
Of
ある
course it isn't the
し
truth.
かしそれだけ
However, there is something that he feels he must tell you.
そなたにはどう
Something he's so determined to convey that he went to such lengths.
ベアト
Beato,
それはも
I'm already showing her.
うそれ以上は
I don't want to force it on
無理
her.
したくない
そうか
I see.
お兄ちゃんたち
I don't understand what you're saying. I'm sleepy.
そうだな
True.
俺たちは
We should probably go take a
した
nap.
方が良さそうだ
金蔵よ
Kinzo,
わらわは
must I remain here longer?
まだならぬのか
おすま
My apologies, but I must ask you to stay for just a bit. Moving on. Kraus.
それで
The
だ
continued support of the Fukuen house should be viewed as your responsibility as the Ushumiya
クラ
family.
ウスが
やれやれ
What pain. Forgive me, Battler. It seems I cannot go with you. Genji, would you mind taking these two to the guest house?
かしこまりました。
As you wish.
バトラー様、
Battler, Angie, please follow me.
ご案内
ありがとう。
Thanks.
じゃあな。
See you later,
後で。
Beato. Of course. I have a mountain of things I wish to discuss with you, and I'd like to have some time alone tonight. We must act the part of a married couple every now and then. What?
なんだよ。
What do you mean, act the part of a married couple? Because Angie had gotten so bored, she had grown very sleepy. It would probably be best for her to take a quick nap. Battler walked through the windy rose garden, pulling her by the hand. When he questioned their guide, Genji, he learned that the old servant had known beforehand of Kinzo's desire to return the gold to Beato and settle the inheritance problem early.
親方
The
様
master decided to start preparations early for his final task in this world, the ending of his life.
自分が死んだ後の。
Most people don't think much about what happens after they die. Huh.
やっぱじいさ
Guess
んは
grandfather just lives on a whole different scale.
違う。
今日は
Today marks the start of a new flight,
魔女の庇護から
when the Ushumiya family will depart from the Golden Witch's patronage. That's true. That's a pretty cool way to say it. Apparently, a grand Halloween party was to be held tonight, and Goda and the others had been ordered to start getting ready for it. However, it wouldn't just be a party. It would be a ceremony to mark the return of Beatrice's gold. At the start of dinner, grandfather would make the announcement, and the 3 generations of Beatrice would be thanked for the gift to the family with a round of applause. Apparently, this is what they had planned.
親父たちにはまだそれは秘密なんすか。
Are we still keeping the secret from Dad and the others?
一応は
Technically, it is a secret. However, the master did not suddenly begin thinking this way today.
もう何年も前から
He has considered this day many times over many years,
時
and
に
has even discussed the certain matters with his
おそ
children.
らく
I doubt that any will be surprised to hear of this night's announcement.
はいない。
うちのクソ親父。
Apparently, my old bastard's been running all over the place, trying to get money for his company.
どうやら会社
I
の
guess he'll be dancing around when he hears that grandfather's giving him his part of the inheritance early.
じいさまからのちょいと
Nice
早い
present for
む
him.
しろ
I rather think the great responsibility is what will spur him on.
ルドルフ様は
Ever since Rudolph left the island, he has succeeded splendidly.
しかしそれは
However, his success so far has been supported by the master's wealth.
それが
And now that he's suddenly getting his inheritance money, he'll have to keep going by his own strength, alone in the future. That's some nice pressure for him.
ご兄弟の皆
The
さん
siblings must have suffered for decades because of their father's excess of success and ability.
偉大すぎる親は
Simply having a parent who is too successful
まだ存
can be
在
a
する
great burden to a child.
それが今夜
And tonight,
本当の意
they'll
味
be
で
leaving the nest,
一人前になって
truly becoming adults for the first time.
親方様は今
It
宵
seems the master plans to call this night a gold returning ceremony.
ですが最初は
However, he originally intended to call it a living funeral.
生前の葬式じゃ
Sounds pretty depressing.
なんだ
Having a funeral while you're still alive?
新しい出
I'll admit that calling it a day to start a new journey and leave the nest
方が
fits the Ushumiya family much better.
後ろ見焼
お姉ちゃん
Ani-chan, I'm sleepy. Look, we're almost to the guest house.
部屋行
You want to go to mom's room?
くそれとも
Or to the cousin's room?
小部屋に
どこでも
I don't care.
晩ご飯まで
I'll just sleep until dinner. Angie, still holding her brother's hand, crouched down and looked as though she was about to fall asleep. Battler lifted her up and carried her. As she felt the warmth and safety of her brother's back, Angie drifted off to sleep. What happened that day? Just what on earth happened on October 4th and 5th, 1986? Because of the massive size of the Rokkanjima explosion accident, the time of the explosion was known almost exactly, down to the minute. The time was October 5th, midnight. The sheer improbability of that round number proved that the accident had been produced by artificial means. Later on, the following statements were collected from individuals who knew Kinzo when he was alive. During his lifetime, Kinzo built a clock rigged to blow up the island at exactly midnight. The clock was apparently inside his secret study. When he felt mentally cornered and wanted to think up a brilliant plan, he would activate that device and use the tension of the approaching midnight to bring some flash of inspiration to him. When Ushiromiya Kinzo still lived, this was only thought of as a tall tale about the eccentric man. But the fact that the Rokkenjima explosion accident occurred at exactly midnight supported that story. Sounds crazy. He must have hoped to gain some sort of mystical power from those short periods of madness. If we call this the source of his high-output mental power, that story isn't that difficult to swallow. Professor Utsuki spoke passionately. Witch hunters. Enthusiasts who treat the mad fantasy surrounding Rokkenjima as their plaything. Angie had no reason to love these people, who embellished the death of their family just for the fun of it. How ironic it was to Angie, who wanted to know what happened that day, that such people knew more about that island than anyone else. If someone used that device, the island would be blown away without a trace. There would be nothing left. No matter what had happened there, they could erase it. Theories that Ushiromiya Eva was the ringleader of some conspiracy sprang up very early on. However, no one was able to explain how she set off such a massive explosion. And the rigged clock proves that such a thing was possible. Correct. We can theorize that Ushiromiya Eva, fully aware of the timing and expected radius of the explosion, took refuge in Kuadorian. To get all the family wealth to herself, she killed everyone and used the explosion to remove all evidence. That idea provides the most logical explanation for the Rokkenjima mystery. It also confirms with the fact that Eva never spoke to anyone about the events of that day. Where was that rigged clock, and how did Eva find it? Several forgeries have speculated on the matter. There's no need for me to waste time thinking about it. Eva activated the clock device, hid in Kuadorian to escape the blast, and was therefore the only one to survive. That was everything, the answer, which eloquently told the whole story. When Eva first adopted me, our relationship wasn't that bad at all. I asked her several times, what happened that day? Every single time she answered, it was to say that she didn't remember. But, well, she must have been flustered at the time. The very first time I asked, she answered like this. I can't tell you about it. That was a slip of the tongue. She knew exactly what had happened that day. And she left this world without telling even a bit of the truth. She sealed the truth in a cat box and left this world, taking the key with her. There can be only one answer. She was behind everything. She got to keep all the family wealth to herself and become super rich. And afterward, she lamented the fact that her beloved son would never inherit any of what she had created, and she cursed me. Just remembering that old bitch makes me want to vomit. What happened that day? That's what I want to know. It's my only goal, the one reason I'm still alive. However, later on, I had to come to grips with the fact that my goal was an abstract one. After all, though I don't know what happened that day, if it's a question of who did the crime, that's already clear. Ushiromiya Eva. She's the culprit. That has never changed since the beginning. That's right. I'm not trying to find out what happened that day. I'm trying to find out what Ushiromiya Eva did that day. If I can reveal that, then I can expose Eva's evil, even though she's already dead. That is my true goal. The police also suspected that the accident might be a crime, and they did investigate. However, no matter how much they inspected the crater that had once been Rokkenjima, they didn't find anything at all. The public and the witch hunters cornered Eva with several bits of circumstantial evidence, but not a single bit of physical evidence was found. Though Eva was only the merest fraction of a shade away from guilty, they were unable to expose her crime. My goal isn't anything as vague as learning what happened that day. Whoa. My game alt tapped. It's to expose the crime Ushiromiya Eva committed that day, and to have my revenge. I haven't been able to expose Ushiromiya Eva's crime, so people are acting as though the events of the island were all done by some bizarre golden witch. Defeating the golden witch means exposing Eva's sin. I won't forgive Ushiromiya Eva. I certainly hate her and take revenge for my family. That is Ushiromiya Angie's one and only reason for living. Oh, it's Amakusa. If she knew you hated her that much, the president would probably be rolling around laughing in the next world. Shut up. I'll expose that old bitch's crime. I won't accept that it was a perfect crime, with all traces blown away. I'll never do that.
つまりお嬢の
In other words, this journey of yours is a journey to take revenge for your family.
悪い
Got a problem with that?
まさか
You must be joking. It's great to know that you have a purpose in life.
それ切ってくれる
Could you turn that off?
おや
Oh? You don't like Emzaki? Makusa turned the radio off. The dull sound of the engine became the background music that filled the car.
昔
Is this really so strange?
弔い合戦
Fighting for revenge?
別に
No, not really.
それを生きる目的に
Out on the front, I met people who live for that reason over and over.
傭兵で
You've been on battlefields many times as a mercenary, right?
まあほどほどには
I've seen a few.
家族の仇を
There are
取る
people who fight to take revenge for their
強
families.
い
そ
Wrong?
りゃ強いですぞ
No doubt about it.
家族の
Some people will even strap bombs to themselves and commit suicide to take revenge for their family.
人は敵討ちのために死ねる生き物です
Humans are more than capable of dying for
そう
vengeance.
ね
That's right.
私も死ねるわ
I could do it too.
少年兵
Have you heard of child soldiers?
子供の兵
You
隊
mean kids who fight like soldiers?
そうです
That's it.
親を亡く
Kids
し
who've lost their parents and have nowhere to go sometimes get picked by groups of armed insurgents and become soldiers.
弾と銃を
They get a gun thrust in their hands, and they're taught how to take revenge.
所詮は
But in the end, children are expendable.
引き金さえ
Anyone can be a soldier in a battlefield if they pull the trigger.
私がそれだって
Are you trying to say that I'm like that?
復讐
Revenge can be a reason for living.
そして
It can also give you the strength to become a soldier.
親の亡骸
Like a miracle, it can turn a girl who could do nothing but sob over her parents' corpses into a soldier almost overnight.
復讐って
Nothing gives you more power than
与
revenge.
えてくれる
そうでしょうね
I guess
それ
so.
がまさに
And that's what I'm like.
私だわ
少年
Do you know about the child soldier
知らない
problem?
わ
Oh?
銃を与え
Child soldiers who are given guns and taught to take revenge
少年兵は
make that their reason for living. Well,
少し違う
that's not exactly right.
それを
It becomes their reason for firing their
し
guns.
かし
But revenge is something that never ends.
いつしか
At some point, they no longer have any reason to keep shooting.
どういう意味
What do you mean?
復讐の
They once shot for revenge,
それがやがて
but eventually,
理由も
they
なく
keep on shooting for no reason at all.
復讐を忘れ
You
て
mean they
しまう
forget about taking revenge?
できもし
When
ない
revenge is impossible,
やがて
they eventually get tired of it and forget their original
そ
goals.
して手元に
When
は
that
銃
happens,
しかない
they have nothing except their guns.
やがて
Eventually, they'll keep shooting just so they can eat.
復讐のために
You're saying the child soldiers who started using guns for revenge
やがて
end up as bandits or something like that?
何しろ学校にも
Yeah, after all,
職も学ばせて
They've never even gone to school, and they haven't been taught any useful skills as far as employment goes. They've only learned how to shoot guns, and they were only ever praised when they killed the enemy.
やがて自分の生きる目的
Eventually,
は
your reason for living stops being revenge and becomes the means you once used to take revenge.
気の毒なことです
Sad, really.
私もやがては復讐に疲
Are
れ
you saying that I'll eventually get tired of revenge too?
と
And what would it be in my case?
真実
You'll
を
get tired of exposing the truth,
お嬢はや
and you'll eventually become a person who could do nothing but hate Ushumiya Eva.
すでにそうだけど
Well, that's already true. You got a problem with it?
そういえばそうでした
Come to think of it, that's right. I'm not sure what Amakusa is trying to say. Probably something annoying. So, I'm not interested.
復讐なんて
Revenge is
そう
pointless.
言いたいんで
It's
しょ
what you're trying to... Is that what you're trying to say?
お嬢の人生は
You still have a long life ahead of you, lady.
何だって
With your
できる
youth,
若さが
you could do anything.
その貴重な
I get the feeling that this
若さ
journey might be a waste of that precious youth.
余計なお世話よ
Well, that's none of your business. I've already jumped once, remember?
ビルから
Off that huge skyscraper?
せっかく
And you only barely made it out of that alive.
あの時ね
Back then,
私は死んだ
I died.
だから
so I'm already a
私はもう
ghost.
家族の
And my
仇を
only
使う
purpose is to expose the truth of that day
真実を暴
to
く
take revenge on my family's enemy.
やれやれお嬢は大し
That's an iron will you've got there, lady.
あんたみたいな軽薄
There's no way a flippant man like you could understand how I feel.
わからないわよ
After that, Amakusa was forced to shut his mouth. He shrugged, but Anchi didn't see. Even so, Amakusa spoke once more.
お嬢と
On the first day we started this journey,
お嬢は言いました
you said something.
あの日
You said you wanted to know what happened on that island that day.
今だってそうよ
It's the same now.
何か変わった
What's changed?
今はこう
Now you're saying that you want to know what happened on that island that day
後ろ宮エヴァ
so that you can expose Ushumiya Ava's
あの
crime.
日
全く同じじゃない
And isn't that exactly the same?
まあそうですね
Maybe true, but
私眠い
I'm tired. I'm gonna sleep now.
少し黙ってて
Would you mind staying quiet for a bit?
着いたら教えて
Tell me when we get there.
え
Roger that. I wasn't particularly tired, really. I just said that because I didn't like talking about this.
ならないでください
Don't become one,
少年
a child soldier. Angie, who had decided to feign sleep, ignored him. But Amakusa kept talking. He wanted to make sure she heard at least that much.
お嬢の
You started on a journey to learn the truth.
それがだんだん
It's becoming more and more a journey of revenge.
真実を暴くこと
A
だ
journey to have revenge by exposing the truth.
しかしお嬢
But as you know, there's nothing left on Rokkenjima.
何の
There aren't even any traces left.
真実を
Exposing the truth might not be a picnic.
並大抵のことじゃな
I
い
know what Amakusa is trying to say. The police searched the scene so thoroughly just after the crime, and even though they weren't able to find any physical evidence proving that Ushiromiya Eva was the culprit, and even then, they weren't able to prove that, and a full 12 years have passed since then. The truth could be discovered by a girl like me, waving wads of cash around to pick up a bit of info from those who were somehow related to the incident, then someone would have exposed the truth long ago. I might not be able to reach the truth. If so, then my first desire, my desire to expose the truth, will probably fade away. After that, only my hatred for Ushiromiya Eva will remain. Just like those child soldiers who forgot their original purpose and lived just to shoot. I'll forget my original purpose and live just to hate. I'll do nothing but despise Ushiromiya Eva, but my goal, exposing the truth for revenge, will be gone. So hating Eva will become my whole life. Is there any difference between shooting for revenge and shooting to live? When you pull the trigger, someone dies either way. And what about my case? Is there any difference between hating Eva as I expose the truth and hating Eva after I've given up? There's no difference. In the end, whether I find the truth or not, I'll just keep on cursing Eva over and over until I die. What a crappy life. But now, that's the only life I have left. Ushiromiya Eva stole my family, so I'll take revenge by exposing her crimes and showing the world. My consciousness was slowly drifting away into sleep. Why is Oni-chan showing me such a bizarre Rokkenjima? Is this supposed to be the truth? Enough with this farce. Why is even Oni-chan trying to hide the truth from me? I'm trying to find it so I can avenge him and the others. Or would Oni-chan say the same thing as Amakusa? That revenge is meaningless, so I should stop. Is that why he's speaking in riddles? Trying to make everything more confusing? That's none of his business. I'm not trying just to take revenge for their sakes. I'm doing it for my sake too. After all, that's the only reason I'm still alive. Taking revenge is my reason to live. I don't have a clue what Oni-chan is thinking. I feel like Battler's trying to show... Could we be all the way back to square one, where the explosion incident was caused by everyone, and they all escaped to Kuadorian, and nobody actually died? I think that's very possible. They blow up the island. They escape with the money. And they make it look like they all disappeared. Battler and Shannon go live happily ever after as Battler and Beatrice. George kind of gets screwed in that scenario, I guess, but maybe not everybody lived. Who knows? So that's it for today. Thank you for hanging out, everybody. I appreciate it. Let's see. I will be back on Saturday. Can't do tomorrow, can't do Friday. So I'll be back on Saturday. We'll probably take about 5 streams to get through this. I'm going to try to do a long one on Saturday or Sunday. So Saturday, Sunday, and Monday will be Umineko streams. And, I mean, that might be enough to get us to the end of there, but we'll see. Yeah, I really do appreciate y'all hanging out on a Wednesday. A couple more days till the weekend. I'm just gonna hop off. I just want to get some sleep tonight. Otherwise, we do more chapters. Yeah, we got some time, so I will see you in 2 days. No, 3 days. Sorry. See you on Saturday. Be good to one another. Make good choices. Be safe. Adios.